When you say something matters to you, you freaking mean it. Your boundaries and your intentions were actually real. And sometimes being calm is what makes something feel final. So take a moment, look at the 4 groups in front of you, and choose which one you feel most drawn to. We have pile 1 with the clear quartz. We have pile 2 with the rose quartz. We have pile 3 with the onyx. And we have pile 4 with the amethyst. Pause here if you need some privacy. Otherwise, I'll leave the timestamps below. Additionally, I'll have a bonus message for anyone who feels called at the very end of the reading. I'll meet you there. Pile 1. If you chose the clear quartz, this crystal is all about getting clarity about something, getting clear in your own head, and seeing things with what they're really worth now. So let's see what we can get you here. So this realization doesn't happen during a big conversation, not some serious conversation. It happens during just what seems like a calm, everyday interaction between you two. And that calmness is actually what throws them for a whirlwind. Like they're used to a different version of you, it feels like. They're used to someone being passionate, effort from you. And so it feels like when this new version of you happens, when this moment happens, it feels unfamiliar. So let's see what triggered this moment. Ooh, okay. This is conversation through text, through phone, maybe in person. But during that conversation, you say something that communicates like a new boundary you have or something that you're clear about that you're not budging on. But the important part is this. You're not emotional when you're saying it. Like you're not yelling, you're not crying, you're not trying to convince them. You're just saying it matter of fact. Let's see what they noticed when that happened. Okay. Oh, they noticed something a little strange here. So normally when you guys had tension before, you would try and work through things together. You might explain your feelings, give examples, show things, clarify misunderstandings. You see that? 3 of Pentacles. This is repeating yourself over and over just to make sure you guys are on the same page. But this time, that's you. You're not doing that. You say what you need to say, and you just sit pretty. Ooh. So at first, this is them assuming the conversation is just going to continue, like they're going in blindly. They just think like you're just going to try and smooth things over like you always have. But it doesn't come. So later, they might even go back and read that conversation again. Think of that conversation again. Like, you know, those moments where someone scrolls back through messages, just replaying what happened over and over, trying to understand the tone, you know? And then something about that exchange, that conversation feels different. Because when they're actually reading the words again, they're realizing something. This is Aquarius and this is Aries. They realize after the fact you weren't trying to argue. You were literally communicating a decision. Let's see what they realized after that. Let's see. Woo. Ooh, okay. So they realized that that pattern they were used to didn't happen. They noticed it. They noticed that you didn't chase the conversation. You didn't circle back around to fix things, to clarify things, to give examples. You didn't soften your words just to say things. This is you. Staying consistent. Consistency is what makes the moment feel real to them. Because people often assume boundaries are temporary, you know, especially the way they saw you. They thought that you would just always go back to the way things were. Always. But when time passed and you still held that steady boundary, that's when it begins to register for them. They might notice it a few days later. They might reach out about something unrelated, something random, and you're like, what the fuck? But you're polite, you're normal, like friendly, but your energy stays the same. Like you're not reopening the conversation. You're not explaining yourself. Like you're not doing the things you would normally do. And that's when something clicks for them. Because they're realizing you meant what you said. Let's pull some more. What else? Okay. This is another moment here. Look. Okay, you got a couple zodiacs here too. So this person saw you active online, posting something, living your best life. And they noticed you looked calm. You had options. You didn't seem upset. You don't seem like someone who's waiting for them to come around and fix things. Here's Leo. Here's Sagittarius. And here's Libra. So the way you're acting now is contradicting everything they expected of you. They thought that like you'd be super emotional and like super hung up on them. But instead, you're grounded. You see here, you're Virgo. Ooh, you know what? Let me pull some love oracle cards. Let me see here. Okay. Oh, but you ended up triggering them. So you're just remaining looking grounded, looking chill, and it's throwing them, you know. So this is slowly making them understand that something they hadn't fully realized before. Oh, lovers just slid out from below the deck. Your boundaries were never about trying to punish them. And they weren't about trying to control them either. Look, Scorpio wanted to pop out here. You were just protecting yourself. You were someone who communicated clearly what you wanted, what you weren't going to, Taurus. You communicated what you wanted to work, what you were willing to do. But when you were done being that one giving everything, you followed through. And that follow through is what surprised them the most. And you have Capricorn here too. Because a lot of people are like, yeah, they talk about boundaries, but they don't actually hold them. You did. So over time, this calm conversation becomes a moment that they remember forever. Because it's the moment they realized something important about you. Look, 9 of Swords. When you say something matters to you, you freaking mean it. And that's you. And that realization changed the way they saw you, the way they see you. Not because you were loud, not because you were dramatic, not because you were screaming, crying, but because you were just calm about it. And sometimes being calm is what makes something feel final. And here's Pisces. Whew. Wow. Okay. Follow us into pile 2. We'll see if there's any overlapping messages. Otherwise, meet me in the bonus message at the very end of the video. We'll meet you there. Bye. Pile 2, welcome. You chose Rose Quartz. This is all about love and loving yourself and loving others, just general love for the world. So for this group, the realization doesn't happen during a conversation like pile 1. It comes when they're observing something about your life. Something like small, something probably that wouldn't stand out to someone else. But to them, it does. because it contradicts everything that they had assumed about you. So let's lay a few cards to see what triggered this moment. Okay. So obviously at some point they noticed something, right? It was like, could have been a social media post or hear about you through a mutual friend. Or maybe they just see you somewhere unexpectedly. So the thing that catches their attention actually is how focused you are on your own life or on your own, whatever you were working on in that moment. Maybe you were spending time with friends. I think it's a new beginning though, because you have the sun here, or talking about work or like investing energy on something that's fun for you, something personal. But what stands out is this: your attention isn't centered around them or that relationship anymore. Let's see what they notice. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, they tried to brush it off, act like whatever. Try to act like it was just temporary. It's nothing. You have Pisces here too. They're like, ooh, maybe they're just distracted right now. They're just busy. I said that was Pisces, right? Because when someone's used to being a priority in your life, it's difficult for them to imagine that dynamic changing. But over time, they start noticing that there's this pattern. For example, maybe they notice you posting more about things that you enjoy. Little moments from your day. Here's Cancer as well. Like something that you're excited about or something that is funny that happened. And whatever surprises them is your energy looks genuinely present in those moments. You're not posting things. You're not posting things that feel like you're trying to like hint at something or be indirect and get a reaction, you know? You're just looking like you're living, like you're in your own life. That's the first thing that makes them stop and pause. Here's Aries. This is another moment right here. Here's Aries, Knight of Swords. In the World. Look, it's something even smaller that happens now. This person reaches out to you. Casual message, like, and something like, I don't know, just chill. Like, oh, did you see the new episode of whatever? Here's Capricorn. And you respond normally. But that tone feels very, very different. You're not trying to extend the conversation, Gemini. You're not asking for questions. You're not like pulling them back into this deep interaction, you know? This conversation just stays short. See that? The Wheel of Lovers, that's easy. And it just ends naturally. Like no argument, nothing. And they're like, nothing's changed. It's them. Nothing's changed. Durr. But the more these moments like happen, the harder that excuse or explanation happens to be unbelievable to them. So something else that forces them to face this is this. They hear about you from someone else. Do you see that? This is like a mutual friend casually mentioning you, or Scorpio is just trying to push out here. Maybe you were doing really good at work and they caught wind of it, or you started a new project, or you're spending time with a new group of people. And when they hear this, something about it like makes them kind of perturbed, because suddenly they're like, wait, like they're not just talking about moving forward, like she's actually doing it, you know? Let's see the moment they realized it. Whoa, the Tower. That's when they really realized it. You see that the Tower popped out. So for anybody watching podcast style, the Tower just popped right out when I said, and that was the realization they had. So they believed that this connection between you two existed just in the background, you know? Here's Virgo. Even if things were never perfect, even if there was a bit of like some distance between you two, they just assumed that would always be there, you know? But now they're kind of noticing something. Your life is continuing, and they're Sagittarius, without them being the center of your world. And that change makes them pause. And here's Libra. Because now they're questioning something that they always assumed about you. They assumed that you would still be waiting emotionally. You'd still even if you never said it out loud. Here's Aquarius. Your behavior is sort of showing something different though. Like you're not stuck in the past. You're moving forward. Here's Leo. So let's find out the moment it really, really clicks here. So, let's see. Okay, this is them like seeing you in person somewhere, judging the situation. They see you briefly in someone else's like snap story or like tagged photos or something, and they're like, her demeanor's different, like her vibe is different. Why is she so relaxed sitting beside that person? You're not like constantly like looking through the room seeing who's there. You're not reacting to their presence the way, like you're not reacting to them walking in the room the way you would have in the past. You're just like chilling, And that moment can feel like really surprising and really powerful. So here's Taurus as well. And Empress is your shadow card. So they're beginning to understand that your energy has genuinely shifted, like changed. And what they're realizing makes them recognize what? It's something they haven't fully appreciated before. You weren't someone who needed them to feel complete. You were someone who decided to choose them. You had your own life, your own priorities, your own things to do, your own independence. And the connection between you guys existed because you allowed it, not because they were entitled to it, because you valued it. But when that relationship stop being healthy for you, you start to redirect that energy. And that ability for you to move forward is what makes this realization like hit them hard. Because they begin recognizing that your presence in their life was never guaranteed, was never 100%. It wasn't because you cared so much. It was because you chose to invest that care. And now you're putting that care somewhere else because it wasn't being returned. And they're realizing something important. You weren't someone who was waiting around for them. You were someone who had options, a life, like direction. You had things going for you. You have things going for you. And when someone like them chooses to walk away from you emotionally, to you, the absence becomes noticeable. So their realization for this group is like gradually unwrapping. It's not like one dramatic moment, but it's through a bunch of small observations by them. Moments where they notice you focusing on your life, you focusing on your hobbies, your energy feels more distant, moments where your attention feels like divided, like it's not on just them anymore. And through those moments, something becomes very clear to them. You weren't just saying, move forward. You weren't just saying, I'm going to move forward. You went ahead and did. So the clarity in this reading really reminds me of pile 1, actually. Pile 1 even got the clear quartz, which represents getting clear about things. So if you have time, I suggest just rewinding and checking out pile 1 just to see if that also resonates. And I love to hear if multiple piles resonate. Otherwise, follow us into the bonus collective message at the very end of the video. So we'll see you there in a sec, or I'll see you in pile 1. See you in a minute. Bye. Pile 3, welcome. You chose Onyx as your crystal. This is grounding, protective energy. This is all about putting yourself first and taking care of your protection, like protecting yourself. So for this group, the realization doesn't happen because of something you say, like pile 1. And it doesn't happen because you run into them, like pile 2. It comes into literally how your vibe feels, how your energy feels. And that's what sort of catches them off guard a bit, because the conversation itself might seem completely normal, polite, friendly, calm, cool, collected. But something about your vibe, your presence feels different. And this person can sense it. So let's lay a few cards out to see what exactly triggered this moment. Okay. This is a moment where the two of you interact. Maybe a conversation. This is Pisces. And this is like after some time apart, or like after a long no talking time. This could be after no contact, you know? This is like a quick message exchange or a brief running into one another somewhere, at a food place or something. And during that interaction, you're respectful, like you're fine. You're not cold, you're not rude. You're just normal, like you're the hanged man. You're not emotionally invested though, in the same way you once were. So for example, like maybe they bring something up. Do you see that? Communication's right there. That whatever they brought up used to bring out something out of you where you would want to talk about it more, or you'd want to explain yourself. This is them like bringing up the past to piss you off, or bringing up what's going on between you guys. Like this person was trying to get a rise out of you. And instead of reacting the way you used to, this is you. King of Wands. Staying calm, staying chill, sitting on your throne. You're like, fuck this shit. I'm not going to react. And this person doesn't understand why it feels strange. You see that? They're like, what's going on? Because technically, you didn't do anything wrong. You responded. You were polite. You kept the interaction respectful. You just didn't give in to them. So your energy, though, your vibe, just feels more like contained, you know? You're not trying to fix anything. Here's Aries. You're not trying to talk about old conversations. You're not trying to bring them back into that zone you guys used to be in, you know? And they notice that you're not fighting for the relationship, because it's to them, that's you fighting for it. Because in the past, you had always been like emotionally very like heavy. Like you care a lot. You cared a lot. You invested a lot of energy. You tried to understand them. You're always there with guns blazing. You see that? Even when shit was complicated, you were there. But now that intensity they were used to seeing isn't there anymore. You got a royalty once again, because you had King of Wands here and now you have Queen. So a moment that stands out as well is this small moment here. Oh, look, you have Leo here. So they asked you something that used to matter to you. Something from the past that they used to bring up. Something that was very painful. You see that? And your response was honest, but simple. And he found that a bit, combative. You're not trying to unpack the situation. You don't want follow-up questions. You don't want to know. You don't want to know their thoughts on it. You just answer, and then you move on from that convo. And that's when they start feeling something, noticing that your emotional focus is somewhere else now. See this guy looking out into the abyss. So let's lay a few more to see what they realize. You got Lovers here too. That's Gemini. So this person realizes, let's see. Okay, so it's an internal, it's in their body. They don't say it right away. They just remember how it felt, and now it feels like you're walking away from them. Do you see that? They remember how attentive you used to be, how you used to talk about maybe getting a big family with them. We used to include them in things. Here's Aries. They're noticing that you're not investing any of that energy anymore. So when they compare that memory to how you were most recently, there's a very big difference to them. So it's like you're emotionally stepped back. Here's Capricorn and here's Virgo. And you're not bitter. This is just a grounded, and like this is just someone who's emotionally grounded, not reacting, not freaking out, but it feels scary to someone else. And this is them thinking, but where's her anger? She's not carrying the whole burden. And that's you. You're like, here, I can help you be calm. So there's this other moment I'm picking up on, though. Queen of Pentacles. You offered them something and they only noticed it later on. What is this? So this is like, for example, maybe they reached out to you another day. Just casually. And the interaction feels very similar to before. Polite, friendly. You said, yeah, I can help you with that if I'm free. But again, you're not leaning emotionally into this connection. You're not overgiving. The conversation is just surface level. And you just seem completely comfortable leaving it there and leaving them in limbo. Because I feel like they think you're leaving them in limbo, but you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing that day. I might be busy. You know, I manifest my own life here, magician. And you're noticing that you're no longer chasing, getting clear about it. You're no longer trying to fix what happened between you two. You've accepted where things stand. Two of Pentacles. Let me pull you some oracles here. So what this realization slowly reveals to them is what? Something they did not appreciate before. The emotional effort you once gave this connection was extremely significant. You were someone who cared deeply, but you got hurt. You showed up. You tried to understand the situation instead of like just walking away and saying like, I'm out. You would try and work on things. And that type of emotional investment isn't something just anyone offers. But when someone cared that much at one point and now they're just kind of pulling back and being calm, it shows how much they were really giving at the time. And that's what they're finally noticing now. They start recognizing that your presence, remember the queen and the king, your presence in their life was hella meaningful, someone that was supportive, someone that was sincere, someone who wanted to see them succeed. But now that your energy feels different, feels pulled back, they start to understand the value of what they lost. So the realization for this group happens subtly, but it's not through an argument. It's not through a dramatic breakup, dramatic ending, like a slam the phone down. I guess you can't slam it down, press your button, you know, but just like a switch up on your end. And it's a moment where they notice that you're calm, moments where you would normally be overreacting, but you're not fixing anymore. You're not trying to reassure them anymore. You're not, you're just not carrying everything anymore. And through all of those moments, something becomes extremely, extremely clear. Your priorities have changed. And that change is something they can feel. So let's get into pile 4. If you're not interested in checking that out, right after pile 4, there's a collective message for anyone who decides to stay with us. So maybe we'll see you there. See you in a sec. Bye. Pile 4, welcome. You chose the Amethyst. So this is all about actually growing your spirituality and feeling calm within yourself. So in this group, the realization doesn't happen while they're talking to you, like pile 1. Doesn't happen when they see you, like pile 2. Doesn't happen during your body shift, like pile 3. It happens like a lot later when this person is completely alone. Because sometimes people don't understand the meaning of certain moments until they look back on them. That's exactly what happens here. Something makes this person start reflecting. Let's see here. Let's see what triggered this moment first. So this guy came up first. Oh, this is like a quiet moment, driving somewhere. This is Pisces, by the way. Sitting at home one evening. Something small reminds them of you, Gemini. Could even be something super random. Hearing your name, seeing a place the two of you used to go, or noticing something that reminds them of like a conversation you guys had at one point. So that's when their mind starts replaying certain things here. Let's see here. I'm going to lay a few cards just to see like what exactly were they noticing here. So, okay. It's like small details, little moments from the past. See that 3 of arrows. The moments didn't really seem that important at the time though. So this could be, for example, like something you said during a conversation, or like something honest, like something direct, something, but they didn't like really think it was that big of a deal. They just assumed that you were just like being emotional in the moment. They thought the situation would eventually just smooth itself out. They believed that this connection would continue the way it always has. You got Aries here too. So at the time, these moments, like I said, didn't stand out. But now, when they think back, they think the King of Pentacles. They think, shit, that's not just an old memory here. This is significant. They're thinking, oh, okay, I have this memory. And now I have this memory. This person's remembering a moment where you were trying to explain something important and they weren't listening to you. It was something about how you were feeling, something about what you were thinking, what you needed from the relationship. And at the time, he was a prick about it. Look at this. The 7 of arrows. This is him brushing it off, just being defensive. This person didn't hear you out. They assumed they would always have another chance to revisit this conversation. You know what I mean? They thought you would just stick around. They believed that connection had time. You might be dealing with a Leo. There's a Leo here. So now when they're replaying these moments, they're noticing something here. And they were not noticing it before. You were being serious, Let's see what they've realized now. Let's see here. So, okay, first of all, your shadow card is Libra. So as they're reflecting on these past conversations, they start recognizing something. And you know what it is? You weren't exaggerating your feelings. You weren't just being emotional. 7 of Wands, that's you. You were being honest and they were being a freaking fool. Do you see that? You were trying to communicate something real about your experience. 2 of Wands, that's you. This was something that was very, very important to you that you tried to talk to them about. And at the time, they didn't recognize that. See, 6 of Cups. They just thought you guys were chilling, like very naive. So it's interesting because memories have a way of clarifying things. Because 2 of Pentacles, when someone looks back on a connection after it changes, you could kind of feel like a bit of a snake. Because certain moments start to stand out, And sometimes the realization deepens even further. So for example, here we have the 5 of Pentacles. They remember the way you handled certain situations, how you responded to things. See that? King of Cups. How you communicated your boundaries and weren't scared to start new things with the Sun. And now you have 2 pages, Page of Wands, Page of Arrows. Everything makes more sense now because now they recognize a pattern in your behavior. You were consistent. You said what you meant. You followed through on your words. 5 of Arrows. You weren't trying to manipulate situations. You were ready to walk away, just like the card suggests. You were being honest about what you needed. Here's you explaining your thoughts. And that kind of sincerity, that kind of vulnerability is something they couldn't really understand at the time. Because this is another moment right here, Queen of Wands. Eventually, there's this moment where all of those memories start connecting together in their head. Ace of Pentacles, and they're like, oh no. Look at this. They realize they were blind. Do you see that? The things you were saying back then weren't just you overreacting. They were genuine concerns about how you felt because you were trying to, what it feels like is Queen of Cups. You're trying to save the relationship. That's what this feels like. The 8 of Cups, and you were willing to walk away if you wouldn't get that from them. So being sincere is something that is easy to be overlooked in the moment, you know, it's easy to be taken advantage of, unfortunately. And you were extremely sincere. Here's Virgo. And when they reflect on all of those memories now, they're like, oh my God, this is their words. I ignored their words. Knight of Pentacles. And look, here's you, the Empress. Oh man. This is them. Incoming messages, not listening. Hierophant. This is Taurus. Your intentions weren't complicated. This is you. Sagittarius. Thinking of the family card. 10 of Cups. What else you got? 10 of Arrows. Yeah, you were just being honest. You weren't being manipulative. You were telling them what you wanted. And like that's super, super rare in relationships. And I think that they're realizing that. Because a lot of people will avoid what they're feeling to not be vulnerable. But you didn't. You communicated clearly. Do you see all these love oracles here? You expressed your perspective and you expressed your concerns. And you meant it, you know? But they only acknowledge it now. So when someone's looking back and realizing like, wow, shit, that person was actually genuine. Here's Cancer here. It'll change the way they understand the entire connection. But like, is it too late? Maybe. 8 of Pentacles. Now they're coming to you with something. Oh, man. So, and here's Aquarius. This is reflection through memories, through dreams, where they're starting to see the patterns of where they didn't meet you halfway. And through all of that, the High Priestess is the second time I want it to come out. They do recognize something important, though. You weren't just expressing temporary emotions. Like, you were telling them your cups were empty. Like, you needed help. You needed more from them. And sometimes it takes you pulling back, no contact, for someone else to understand that you were serious. Wow, that was heavy, pile 4. Okay, I'm going to do a bonus message at right after this. So follow us there and we'll see if we can get you some more answers. And if this resonated, let me know in the comments. See you in a sec. If you made it to this bonus message, there's something here meant to find you. So not only are we going to do bonus messages, but we'll also do some angel messages for you. Let's see. How are they processing this realization? What does my pile 1, 2, 3, and 4 need to hear? So for some of you, like I said, it doesn't happen all at once. Whoa. At first, this person tries to just soften the blow. They're like, things just haven't actually changed between us. This relationship is going to go back to the way it was. Like, it's fine. This is their thought process here. They're like, I'm not going to accept this change. If I don't accept it or acknowledge it, it's not real. There's more time. This is the things that they're telling themselves. Their mind is looking for explanations. Look at that. You got Hermit. You got Virgo. They're convincing themselves you're busy. Oh, this is temporary. Things are going to just get back to normal, Aquarius. But the more that they're seeing this Two of Swords here, this decision, they can't ignore it. You were serious. Like, not serious, like dramatic, causing a big scene. Or maybe you did. But your intentions were freaking real. And they didn't believe it at first. Your boundaries came from being sincere. Like, you gave an F. You gave an F. I can see that. But when someone truly means what they say, like you did, eventually your actions are going to match your words, no matter how scared you are to make that first step, because it is scary to do it, because you're scared of losing them too, right? You don't want to lose them. The things that you communicated weren't just you reacting emotionally, like they were genuine reflections of how you felt. And that realization changes how the other person's viewing the connection, but it's only when they look back, because they didn't take your words for face value. Like, it's like they're seeing it all too late. You know what I mean? You weren't trying to pressure them. You weren't trying to manipulate them. You weren't trying to control it. Like Sagittarius and Leo here. You were literally just being honest, stating your friggin' feelings. And here's Libra. That's something that people don't always recognize immediately. Like, they always think they're being attacked. And you weren't trying to attack. You were just trying to explain yourself, explain how you were feeling. And that's why you just stopped explaining eventually. So when finally comes around and figures it out, here's Aries. It stays with them because you were already hurting when you tried to address it. And sincerely tried to talk to them about it. And then now you pulled away, moved forward, because why would you keep sitting there in pain? So they're where you were at before you made the changes. Does that make sense? Like, I can't express that enough. It wasn't you trying to pressure them. You were just trying to be honest. So take what resonates from this reading, leave what doesn't. Let's see if the angels have any messages for you, because sometimes your guardian angels, can really help. Because sometimes the moments that feel the smallest at the time are really what shapes everything going forward. So let me see. Your first angel message. The beauty you seek will resonate in nature. And also, your looks don't matter for the way you're treated, by the way. I feel like someone needs to hear that. When you live in the moment, you will discover delight in simple things. Ask your inner self the answer to your question. Actually, and a point on that, if you ever have a question that you want answered in your dreams, write it on a piece of paper and put it under your pillow before you go to bed. And usually you'll have a dream that has some weird hidden meaning, or you will get a visitor in your dream. So just a little tidbit. I'll do one more here. You can do it. That's so sweet. Okay, well, take care of yourself first, as always. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next reading, okay? Bye.